The beard is back. I'm back. What's up, guys, and welcome to another edition of Saturday's Wrench. On this episode, we're going to take the bike down to Busche's garage. He's going to help me out with a few minor things, get this bike on the road, and then we're going to start this bad boy up. Been a 2-year process. We finally get to hear what this bike sounds like. I'm pretty excited. I hope you guys are pretty excited. That's all coming up right now on Saturday's Wrench. Welcome to Saturday's Wrench. Yeah. Wrench-a-dee-roo. Hey guys, what's up? Back with Bush. How's it going, brother?
Good.
Boom. Working on the 350 here, and Jeff's just going to explain a little bit how to get the chain. So I had a little bit of stuff left to do. He helped me with some of the threads on the engine. We fixed those up, but now we want to put the chain on. So Jeff's going to explain his method, how to do this. So he's going to take us through the chain method right now. We're going to get this chain on.
Alright, well, this is how I put chains on. It doesn't mean it's the best way, it's just the way I do it.
Sure.
So when you buy a chain, you have to first of all figure out how long a chain you need, because chains come in like 100 links, 110, so on. So check your reference material. It usually tells you somewhere in the manual the number of links that you need, or in a reference catalog for the chains themselves.
Yeah.
But if you can't find that, you can do it without knowing the links by installing the chain on the bike.
Yeah.
I've installed it loosely here. The
Right.
first thing to do is to make sure that your adjuster is in the middle of the range of adjustment when you adjust it. So make sure you set this in the middle, because that's where it's designed with a new chain and new sprockets and everything.
Okay.
So in this particular case, I think it's 94
Yeah,
links.
stock is 94.
Stock is 94. Yeah. So the way I count chain links, okay, is by twos. So you've got your connector link that comes with the new chain, and when it's installed in here, then this master link and this link in effect make 2 links.
Right.
So it's a 100 link chain we've got here.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is just count back. So we've got 2, 4, 6.
Right.
Okay, and so that gives us our 94 with the link in here.
Right.
So I have to remove this part of the chain here.
Right.
So what I do is, oh, sorry. Okay, so what I do, just to make sure that I don't mess up and cut the wrong link, what I always do is just put a black mark around the ones that I'm going to grind off.
Right.
So then the next step is to make some sparks.
Sweet.
So what I do is I use an angle grinder like this to grind off the links.
Right.
And then this is going to be a little bit noisy, but
All right.
so the whole idea when you're doing that is not to grind everything around it if you can. So just be careful and hold on to it tight, because it can take off. And you want to grind it down below the level of the plate.
Right.
And because that takes the lip off the pin. So
Cool.
the other one. All right, so that kind of releases the pins. Now, if you have a chain breaker tool, you can use that to push the pins through.
Right.
I have one, but I find that this is just as easy as anything.
Yeah.
And then the next step is to knock the pins through so you can get the plate off. So what it does is it opens up and it grabs the plate, and then when you turn this in, that pin pushes them through. You can do it with a hammer and a punch, but this is just a lot easier to do. So basically, so then a couple of turns. You don't necessarily have to do it evenly like this. It doesn't matter. This is junk, this stuff. But
Yeah.
all right. So there we go. So now the old length of chain is off. I'm just using a little block of wood to try and keep the tire from turning. I'm gonna just take a rag and clean this up in case there's any of that grinding stuff.
Right, smart.
Stuck on there. Okay, the chain always comes with a little package of lube.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is to, now this already has some on it, but we'll put some more on. So just get a little bit more lube, because this is what's going to lube the chain for life, basically.
Right.
So you want to make sure you get
good amount in there.
a bunch on there. Now the link. Goes in there like that.
No, I guess we should say that this is something that both of us have never seen. Actually, Busche was saying, and they come with these little knobs that you kind of like you screw on and then break off. But we'll go through it now. But I personally have never seen that before.
Yeah, I think I've heard of this, but I've personally never done it myself. But the instructions are clear on what to do.
Yeah.
Usually with an endless chain, you have a rivet tool. So
Right.
you get the plate. So you get the plate on there, and then you apply the rivet tool, and it
Smashes the end a little bit, or flattens it out.
Yes, pushes over the edge so that it
Right.
can't pull through. But in this particular one, it uses these little threaded nuts to pull the plate into place. And then once you've got that done, it's just a press fit against the pins.
Right.
And then once you've got that done, then you break the end of the pin off with this.
Cool.
I got these with a chain. I don't even remember what manufacturer they are, but these are a great little tool. They're a spacer. And what they do is, when the O-rings are on here, like that, basically what it does is it spaces this so that when you're pressing the plate on, it can only go so far and it won't squish the O-rings, because it's easy if you're not careful when you're putting the endless chain together to squeeze it too much so there's not enough clearance, and you can actually see that this little tool fits right in there, and it's spaced so that the O-rings aren't crushed or anything.
Yeah, this is just the tool here, because the camera's not the best at showing close-ups or whatever, but yeah, this is the spacer he's talking about here. So you can see it's like just thick enough that it's like perfectly, slip it over the chain and it just perfectly spaces the chain out there.
Mm-hmm. And so that basically, what I'm trying to illustrate is when you squeeze this together, you have to make sure that you get the same spacing between this plate and the link on both sides as the rest of the chain. Because if you squish this too much, it's not good. All right. So actually, this is a good idea for the do-it-yourselfer, because you don't have to go to the expense of purchasing a chain riveting tool, and they can be a little bit expensive.
Yeah, so then it says 60 degrees each, alternate between 60 degrees of twist each until she's...
Yeah, because you need to draw it in evenly. If you don't, then... Oh yeah, okay, there, I just felt it go up against the shoulder, so that's good.
So just back them off a bit so we could snap them off.
Yeah, because there's a little groove in the pin.
Yeah.
Okay, so
snap her off.
Bend it up and it should be good. There you go.
Boom.
Well, that's interesting. That seems quite effective to me. Generally speaking, you want about an inch of play, right? So basically, push down on it and then push up, and that distance is what you want. So that's still a little bit on the loose side. And don't forget, the chain will stretch in the first couple of hundred kilometers or miles. Anyway, so to adjust it, just okay. All right, so that's a pretty nice chain tension right there.
Perfect.
That's about just maybe over an inch.
Yeah.
Or whatever the equivalent is in metric.
Yeah.
Alright, looks good there. Maybe a little bit more. The closer you can get them to matching on either side, the better, because that means your wheel is good and straight.
Yeah.
What I usually do is once I've so now then the last thing I do is I just snug these up a little bit to make sure that they're pushing nicely on
the
that.
tension a little bit. Yeah.
And okay. And there you go, one chain. Oh yes, this sounds like a new chain.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, and you even have brakes. That's good.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's basically what's required to install a chain. At least the way I do it anyway.
So the last thing we got to do, put the cotter pin in.
Okay, so when the cotter pin goes in, a lot of people put them in like that and then just bend one tang out so that it comes around. But I've ripped my hand open so many times on bikes that have this just bent around.
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's a sharp, piece of metal sticking out there, and if you forget about it and you're cleaning the bike, you can do that. So what I do is I install them like this here.
Yep.
And okay, so now there's less chance that you're gonna rip your hand open when you're doing stuff around that. And you should always put a new one of these on. Once you bent those back for the amount of money that a cotter pin costs, it's good practice to always replace them.
Holy shit, guys, we're putting oil in the engine. This is crazy. So, yeah. So what I'm using here is this break-in oil, and basically it has zinc in it, so it helps to gather the metal pieces that might, that are going to happen when you just rebuilt a motor there. So we got some oil up in the where the valves are. Jeff just pooled up the top of the valve retainers there, and I just pumped some oil in there. So we're good, and we're going to put oil in it, and then I'm going to just pump it through with the kickstart. And there's a little hole on the side here, and we're just going to make sure that it's dripping so that the oil is getting to the top of the gallery, because that's important, because if there's any blockages or if you've sandblasted your cases or something like that, you definitely want to make sure you check before you put the engine together, but you never know, so you want to double check. So you definitely want to make sure oil is dripping through that little hole there so you can see it. So exciting stuff, guys. We got the exhaust on, you can see that. It's pretty sweet, looking pretty good. And then we're going to get oil in this thing and do some other little checks, and then we're going to fire this thing up soon. So let's do this. Take a drink. Oh my god, this is exciting. So this should take, as Jeff was mentioning, this might take a little bit more than 2 liters, just because the motor is bone dry, so the galleries aren't filled up and anything like that. So it might take a little bit more than 2, but we could always just top it up. It's not a big deal. Okay, so yeah, this is where the bolt is here, guys. You can see that. So we removed that. Now we're just gonna pump it and see if oil is dripping. Just make sure the bike's nice and secure.
Nope, not yet.
All right, guys. So we had a little problem. Last time you saw me, we put on the chain, and that is on. You could see that here. Bush took us through the process on that. We moved over benches. This is a couple weeks later. We had a little bit of a problem with the spark. So we're having a no spark situation. We put oil in the bike. We had tried to pump it up to the top end. We didn't see it come up to the top end. So we were a little bit nervous about that, but I have a feeling that once we run the engine, I've been assured by a few motorcycle guys by Busche and on the forums and stuff that once the engine starts going, that we'll get some oil pumping up to the top. So not too worried about that. But then we went and checked the spark, and we were not getting a spark here. So we took hours and hours to troubleshoot, but we kind of narrowed it down to a faulty. The ignition modulator was a little faulty, so, well, it is faulty, so we sent that one back, and right now what we're doing here is we're setting up the point system. So we are going to go to the stock point system here. These point system here are new. I've replaced those and put them on the pickup plate here, or the plate. Bush is currently working on the advanced mechanism. So he's making sure that's working here, and then we're gonna install it back onto the camshaft, the end of the camshaft here, and hopefully we're gonna get a spark going and we could light this bad boy up. So stay tuned for that. Next thing we're gonna do is install the point system, and also want to show you that we installed the clutch system, and I'll go through at the end of the video on my own, or Bush can take us through the procedure to adjust the clutch and all that stuff. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, but we'll go through that as well. So sorry I didn't get that on camera. It's been a crazy couple of weeks coming up here and trying to get this thing to fire. So it's been a little bit frustrating, but we're on a roll here. I feel good about these stock points. I think they're gonna work, and I mean, I'm just gonna have to run points for a while, and when I get the modulator back and it doesn't work, I'll just switch it out for maybe Charlie's Place ignition, and then we'll get that going. So we're gonna install the points here, and we should get this thing fired up. Let's check it out. Alright guys, so as you can see, we got the point system into the engine here, and Jeff's just going through, just making sure the gaps are set correctly. We want to make sure that everything's set up properly. We already checked to make sure there was a signal coming to the wires when we rotate the engine, and it is, so that's good. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep the camera as still as possible, but just want to get you a better view of what's going on. So you can loosen these two bolts, and then you can stick your screwdriver in here. It's really convenient. We put these little bumps in this little divot here.
You just hook it in there, and
you can turn it,
do that to
and push it in and out, and you can move it to side or whatever. So pretty genius little.
Yeah, and the same goes for this here too. You can get your screwdriver in there and use it to wedge it, because you want to keep these two screws snugged up, not tight, but just tight enough that the plate can't move, but that you can still turn it, because you can both adjust the points or the whole plate in order to get both cylinders firing exactly where they should at the fire mark on the rotor. So when I'm setting the timing statically, which we'll do here shortly, you set the rotor so that it lines up with the timing mark, and then you use a light or an ohm meter to find out when the points actually open and or fire. Yeah, that's right. And so that will give you a static timing, and then once the engine's running, we'll use a timing light to do it dynamically, and that way we can ensure that the advancer is doing its job.
Okay, so what we're doing here is just making sure we have spark. We're confirming spark. So we have the point system hooked up. Jeff's just going to hit the start button there, and then we're going to turn the motor over and make sure that we're getting a spark here. So go for it.
And just make sure we get it on both plugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Beautiful.
Right on. So now
spark.
It will run.
Okay guys, so we have this bad boy ready to fire. Jeff just has a shop battery basically hooked up to the system here. We just have some rags over the electronics just for safety in case something sparks. So he's just using his battery for now just to crank it on first crank here. So yeah, so we went through, we've hooked up the gas here. We just have it hanging off the handlebar here. We have a little safety measure on the clutch just to make sure that doesn't get in the way, and that also just helps it the engine turn over faster or better.
Yeah, well, what I'm doing is holding the clutch open,
yeah,
so that it's not transmitting power through the clutch into the transmission and stuff. So there should be less resistance to turning the motor over.
Exactly. We verified spark. You guys saw that. So we have our spark plugs now set up in the engine. Tighten that down. Points are all set up. And yeah, here we go guys. We're gonna get this started. Alright guys, so we're just getting ready to start this bad boy up. First time. Pretty excited. Almost there. Okay.
Okay, so let's turn it on. I'll give you the honor of pushing the starting button.
Sure.
So there we go.
Ignition's on.
Master's on. Master's on. Contact. Push the starter button.
Let's go guys. It's been a couple years of hard work. Let's see what she sounds like.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, take a picture of that. That's good. So
we got oil coming out on the side here, so
yeah,
that's fucking great.
And so I understand why you were being Dr. Cautious before, and we spent a lot of time kicking it over and cranking it over and trying to get the oil to come up. But the problem with these the problem with these motors is that the oil pump is really kind of pathetic, and it doesn't move much oil. So when you first start them, it takes a long time for the oil level to get all the way up to the top here where that telltale bolt is. So yeah, you could see as soon as we got some good RPM, like 800-900 RPM, 1000 RPM going, it just gushed out of there.
I can't, sorry guys, I couldn't get you a shot over here, but you can take my word for it that it was gushing out here.
Yeah.
And that's a good sign.
We boiled the outside of the engine, so it won't
I am
rust.
fucking stoked. That sounded really cool.
Okay, let's run it some more.
Yeah, let's run it. So what we have to do now, guys? Yeah, I didn't.
Here's the rig.
Guys, what we need to do now, we need to break in. Basically, do a break-in procedures. We need to do 2 heat cycles on the bike. So we have to basically hold this up at like what, 3,000 RPM first?
2,500,
2,500.
And the reason that you do that is to ensure that you've got really good oil pressure for when the cam and the rockers and all those pieces in there are getting to know each other. They've just barely jumped into bed. Now they're going to get familiar.
Perfect. So 2 heat cycles. We have to hold this open for 5 minutes, let it cool down completely, and then do that again at a higher RPM. So let's start this guy up again. We got the power, and just listen to this bitch purr. Pretty cool, guys. It sounds fucking amazing, doesn't it? So yeah, we gotta let it cool down now, and then do that again. So all these parts are just getting to know each other, and it's exciting. Woo! Feels good, man. It's crazy. Alright, so we're just going to do second heat cycle here so the engine cooled down. We can actually touch it now, so that's good.
And we put the air filters on because I could feel it's super lean. We're probably going to have to go up 2 or 3 jet sizes.
Yeah.
But for now, I just threw them on. That'll richen it up a little bit, and
Cool.
It'll take throttle better.
Okay, let's go. Heat cycle number 2, guys. That thing is crazy. Holy crap. Like, wow, my ears, I'm deaf. Sounds amazing. The power is crazy on this thing, man. Good Lord, my hand is, I'm gonna have to get some like shock absorber gloves. Like, I feel like I'm yelling right now. It's fucking loud. I'm gonna get pulled over.
And you can just feel the throttle response. I mean,
like
it's obviously
crazy.
lean, because when you give it a handful, it chokes a bit. But
I'm getting high.
You probably are. From the fumes, my detector went off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go outside for a sec. Anyway, so fuck, guys, this sounds amazing. The power is unreal. Yeah, that's fucking nuts. It's like super full. I'm gonna step outside because I feel like I'm high right now. But that's 2 heat cycles. It's looking good. And fuck. Crazy, man. So now that we had it started up, 2 cycles, now we have to verify the timing with the timing light, right, Jeff?
Yeah, we set it statically and it was close enough just to run it without any load and so on, verify everything, and there's no oil leaks that are obvious or anything like that. So now we're going to check the timing dynamically with a timing light. So basically this is a strobe light that's triggered by the spark event. And when you point this at the rotor, it will freeze the firing and top dead center and advance lines on here, which will allow us to adjust the timing under running conditions,
okay,
as opposed to statically where the engine isn't running.
Okay.
And that way, let's say that there was, I don't know, a little bit of slack or something in the timing chain or whatever. This gives you the real actual timing figure, as opposed to one that's close but not exact. This tells you exactly what's going on in the engine for timing.
Cool.
And also we put 2 sizes bigger main jets in it because it was obviously lean when we ran it before. So we'll just start attacking the jetting at the same time that we verify timing.
Okay, cool. So it's going to get a little loud here again. Let's do it.
Now what I want to do is do the dynamic timing and get the timing set properly, because I've already verified that it's spot on for the left cylinder, but the right cylinder is retarded by about 5 degrees.
Okay.
So we'll have to fiddle with the points in the plate to get it adjusted so that they're both right on the F mark.
Okay.
And then also verify that it's advancing. So what we'll be able to see with the strobe light is we'll be able to actually see the line move until it lines up with the advance marks on the rotor. And once we get that all sorted out, then basically that's it. The timing doesn't need to be changed again until the points wear enough that it has to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the carburation is just a matter of playing with
the right jets, playing with the right jets.
Cool. Cleanly all through the whole throttle range.
Okay, so we're going back down. We changed them to 150s. Now we're going back down to 140s, and we're gonna see how it runs. And Jeff, before he was just playing with the idle mixture screw.
No, the idle adjusters.
Oh, sorry, the idle adjusters right there.
And then if you go on the other side.
And then the other side. And then
these are the air screws, they're called. And what they do is increase or decrease the amount of air that the carb gets at idle, from idle up to about an 8 throttle. So the pilot jet and the air screw together determine how much fuel is metered for 0 to 8 throttle. And yeah, so what I was doing was playing around with these to fine-tune the pilot jet.
Cool. Okay. Okay, so we're going to change it and then start it up and see how she runs. Well, that's going to end it for this edition of Saturday's Ranch. Bush and I, we are still in the midst of tuning the motorcycle. She needs a little bit more work, but I ran out of time when I was at Bush's garage. So we're back in the Saturday's Wrench garage now, and we're going to finish off this tuning in another episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Bush did a lot of work for me, and I want to thank you again, Bush. Jeff Bush has been a huge part of this build. Please check out his shop, bushesgarage.com. Give that guy some work. Give that guy some love. Local Canadian guy just trying to help out. He's been on board with this project. I can't thank you enough, Jeff. You've done an amazing job for me, and you've been an integral part of this build. So thank you very much, and please, guys, check out Bush's Garage. So we got through a lot in this episode. The bike started up. It was loud as hell. Let me tell you, the power coming out of that bike is amazing. I can tell you right now that the sound on camera does not do it justice. I'm going to go ahead and try and get a mic for you guys so you can feel and hear exactly what this bike sounds like a little better. That'll be coming up on a future episode of Saturday's Ranch. In the next episode of Saturday's Ranch, we're going to go through the tuning process. Get these carbs tuned up perfect. I've been doing a lot of research, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. If you're having problems with your bike not running properly, or it's stuttering or failing or stalling on certain points during your throttle, during your throttle range, we're going to go through the tuning process with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm going to share what I found in my research. Hopefully it helps you out, and if you guys have any information for me, don't be afraid to leave those in the comments below. That'll be coming up on a future edition of Saturday's Ranch. Until next time, guys, get out there, finish those projects, and wrench it up.